Hi there, I'm Angela. Welcome to another episode of Friday Sews. Hi there, welcome to the channel or welcome back and welcome to another Saturday edition of Friday Sews. I promise I'm going to get back to Friday Sews on Fridays very soon. Life's been a little bit crazy. I do have some updates for you guys, but first, thanks to Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room, who is the creator behind the hashtag Friday Sews, where we have little chats about life, both sewing life and non sewing life. And thanks to you guys for watching. I appreciate it. So, I do have some updates to share with you guys. So, as far as sewing goes, I did finally finish up my blue and pink flowery dress. It had just needed the hem, so I got that done. And that's about it. I'm preparing to start on my next project, and all I've done with that is just pre-wash the fabric, so it's a start. And I'll probably get the pieces cut out for that. It's a pair of pants. I've showed that on the channel before. So I'll put a picture of the pattern and the fabric that I'm going to use with it up here so you guys can see that. And it's probably, if you've watched the channel anytime in the past month or two, you probably maybe have seen me post that as like a coming plan. So just as a refresher, I'll put pictures up there. So I am going to get started on that this weekend, at least get the pieces cut out, and I'm very excited to be moving on to something new. And so that's about it as far as my sewing life goes this week. And in real life, I'd like to share with you guys a little bit more about what we experienced this past week with our tornado. And luckily, we did not personally have any damage to our house or to our property, although places very, very close to us did. And thankfully, there were no fatalities. And the last that I read, there were, I think, two people that were injured, and it wasn't critically injured. So thankfully, it was just that. So while our area is not like heavily prone to tornadoes, occasionally we do get a tornado that comes through. And by occasionally, that's usually like every several years, maybe even up to every 10 years. So while we always have that in the back of our mind when there's a severe thunderstorm, it usually never like comes to fruition. So it was kind of very unexpected that this tornado came through. The place where I work actually did sustain a lot of damage, not to the buildings, but I work for a nature center, so we have like hundreds of acres of woods. So we have a lot of down trees, and there's a lot of cleanup, and I've been participating in that at least as much as I can. And we had damage in our little town to the building that houses like our EMS and fire departments. So that was pretty, I think, impactful to our community just because it is a pretty small town. I think we only have maybe 16 to 17,000 people, and we are very adjacent to a much larger town. So it's not like we're that remote, but just being like our services, like our police station, fire department, they're very small. So this kind of damage was very, very impactful, and luckily all those emergency services were able to quickly step in and call on the surrounding areas to help. So it's very good. We were without power for not terribly long, maybe about 24 hours. So thankfully our energy company, our power company, they pulled resources in from all over the region. There were about 100,000 homes and businesses that were without power, and we were lucky to get our power back within 24 hours. I think a lot of homes were still without power like up to 3 days later. So the tornado came through on Wednesday, so we're right at 3 days now. And I think pretty much everybody has gotten power back, but it kind of just like shook up the town a little bit just because we don't experience that kind of thing very frequently, luckily. And so most all the damage was to trees, so many down trees. If you drive around our town now, there's bucket trucks everywhere. And I read a local news channel article online that said like over 100 power poles have to be replaced before they could even like start stringing the wires again. So it kind of shook up our town a little bit, and thankfully no one was fatally injured. So that's like such a blessing out of all this. I was at work when the tornado warning came through, so we all had to go into the basement to shelter. Thankfully, the workplace has a basement for us to shelter in, and we were kind of far removed from our town center where it sustained like all the building damage. And I heard that they got 90 seconds of warning that they needed to seek shelter. So that's not much time at all. Sometimes the meteorologists, the weather channels can track a tornado and you get a little bit more warning than that, but this was so unexpected and they didn't get much warning at all. So it's really amazing with all the damage that occurred in our town center that there weren't more injuries. So, yeah, thank the heavens for that. So that's been pretty much our life this week, all the excitement here. Like at home, at our home, it wasn't terrible. 24 hours without power, even when it's hot and muggy outside, it's not the worst thing. So we dealt with it. It was no big deal. The most thing that we were worried about at our house was power to our refrigerator and freezer. We didn't want to lose all the food that we had, especially now with like the way that food prices have skyrocketed. So what we did was we didn't open, we have like a small little like chest freezer. So we just left that closed, don't open it, it's well insulated. And then for our refrigerator, we went on an ice run. So before work on Thursday, the day after the tornado, when it looked like we weren't going to be getting power back anytime soon, we got in the car and went on an ice run. So our major grocery store that's about 3 miles away from us was closed due to no power, and the pharmacy was closed, and the gas station closest to us, they were all shut down because they didn't have any power. So we had to drive a little ways out, and we were finding that all of the gas stations were sold out of ice because everyone was, I guess, had the same idea. So we had to drive out just a little ways to find a gas station that was open and that had ice to sell. We got like the last 2 bags. So we got like a big couple of big bags of ice and we just stuck that in the fridge and it seemed to be fine. It certainly kept the refrigerator cool enough to maintain the proper temperature to keep our food from spoiling. So we were thankful for that, and it looks like all again once again all the work crews out there were working so hard around the clock to just to get power back to people first and foremost, and then I guess they'll have to look at rebuilding the structures that were down and just clearing all the trees off of the roads. It was so crazy. So when I left work on Wednesday, the day of the tornado, I had to kind of take like a little circuitous route home, and because there were so many road blockages with all the trees down, and my maps app, like I was losing cellular signal, so I couldn't like have my map reliably load up. And it was like, I guess, a good learning experience for me to get more acquainted with the back roads to get from my workplace to my home. And silence my computer. And since it's such a relatively new workplace for me, I haven't really explored all those kind of back routes to get home. So I think that's one thing that'll come out of this. It's so minor. I'm not complaining at all. We are so blessed and thankful that we didn't have any damage at our house, especially with all the trees that we have here. So fingers crossed. All the damage gets repaired soon, and I think it will. Everyone's working really hard. So anyway, what that did do though is prevent me from posting a video that I'd wanted to do midweek, where I wanted to show you guys what some of my favorite picks are from the new Vogue summer collection. So I thought maybe I could take this Friday sews to share some of those pattern picks with you guys. So I'm at my desk now, as you can see, as opposed to one of my other like videoing places in my sewing room. And what I'd like to do is to share my computer screen with you guys and show you some of my favorites from the new Vogue summer collection. So if that sounds interesting, let's do it. Vogue has released their summer collection, and it's not even like a brand new release. I feel like it's been out for a couple of weeks already, and I meant to do this video much sooner, but there's no better time than the present, as they say. So let's take a look. So let's scroll through first and just take a little bit of a look at the new patterns. And I'm not going to cover like in depth each of these. What I've done is to pick out a few of them that I really liked, or that at least I felt like I could make and wear myself. So we'll take a look at those. And the first one that caught my eye was V1878, which is here. I love this dress. It's kind of like a clean, simple look. I really love the neckline. We'll go in a little bit closer on that. Look at that neckline. It's so nice. Let's look at the back. You get a little better view of the neckline from the back. And I love the princess seams. I'm a big fan of princess seams just because I have like a large waistline that I don't like to draw attention to. And this is a designer pattern by Tom and Linda Platt. So the fabric that I really love for this dress is by Stylemaker Fabrics. It's a rayon crepe, and it's called Brushstroke Tropical Floral Rayon Crepe Jade. It is sold out though. I don't know if it was sold out when I first started putting the ideas for this video together, but I mean, it's okay. It's not like I'm gonna rush out and make this dress anytime soon. I think the main idea here behind this video is to kind of get an idea of things that I think would look good with the dress and maybe spark some ideas for you guys. But I love this fabric, and it's kind of bright for me, maybe like a little brighter than I would normally choose, but hey, I'm gonna go out on a limb. So I just fell in love with the fabric, and I think it would look good with the dress. So I'll put a picture of both the fabric and the pattern next to each other to give you a better idea. So that's all I wanted to share with you guys. What did you think? Have you looked through the new Vogue summer collection at all? Did you find any favorites or things that you might like to make? I feel like Vogue can be kind of hit or miss with me. They do have patterns that I love, but a lot of their stuff is either not my style or doesn't like meet my comfort needs, especially as I'm getting older. I feel like maybe it's geared to maybe a younger set, which is fine. There's plenty of patterns, like something for everyone. So those were just a few that I kind of really liked and had fun kind of pairing the patterns with fabrics that might go with them. And that's not to say that I have plans to buy or make any of those patterns. Sometimes I feel like part of the fun of sewing is just the dreaming and kind of thinking about things that I could make. As you guys probably know by now, I'm kind of a slow sewer, so I don't produce a lot of sewed garments quickly. It's okay. Part of the fun is the dreaming. So I guess that pretty much wraps it up. I hope this was interesting, and let me know in the comments if you have any favorites from the Vogue collection. And I think I'm going to take the rest of this weekend to just recuperate from all the events of this past week. And hopefully next week will be much calmer, and I'll get back to regular posting and doing more of the live chats, which I miss. I kind of felt just, I'm still feeling just kind of drained from everything. And it takes it out of you, even though like we weren't like terribly impacted by it. Very minorly. Minorly, I don't know if that's a word, but we had very minor impact from the tornado. But like emotionally and mentally, I'm just feeling kind of drained from everything. So here's to looking at a better week for next week, and I hope you guys are having a great weekend. And As always, thanks so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.